Hi, welcome to CMS. We'll continue the quantity surveying for the structure element. We stopped before in the columns and wall. Now we'll continue for core wall and special concrete elements. When you open the page of the core wall and the special concrete, we'll find in the head of the page title of the core wall and link for walls and parapet and manaras and dome and tanks. So that's why it's called a core wall and special concrete elements. That's the special concrete elements which is considered in CMS. Common special concrete used in the building structure. We'll start now by core walls. If you have a core wall in your project, like a core wall for staircase or for a core wall for a lift, you have to consider here how CMS deal with the core wall. Let's see. In our project, we have these two types of core wall 1 and core wall 2. That's the detail of the core wall. You have dimensions and reinforcement. So we need to enter this data in CMS, the dimension of the core wall and the reinforcement type according to the schedule or the detailed draw. Let's start with identify the core wall inside the CMS. Here we have to put the types of the core wall as we mentioned now, W1 and W2 and so on. The numbers of the core wall which can be repeated according to the floors or maybe repeated in the same floor for many times. These numbers must be identified and recorded here. Then we'll go for the size of the core wall itself. According to the drawing, we have to give the dimension of the core wall. The length of the core wall, if all sides of the core wall have the same dimension and the same rebar description, you can consider this all as a one wall. You can take a summation of these four walls together. If not, if each wall have separate size or separate rebar, you have to consider each side as a separate wall and can mention this in the type of the walls for your reference. So you will enter the length, then you will enter the height. You can enter the height of the floor, and as we said now, it will be multiplied by the numbers of the floors. Then you will put the thickness of the wall. The thickness of the wall, which is here is 20 or 25, whatever. Okay, now we have the size or the dimension for each wall. You will enter by the same way for each kind of dimension, length and height and thickness, and numbers of the core wall. Second, we need to insert the rebar. We'll find here for the core wall the steel, the horizontal reinforcement and vertical reinforcement. We have outer reinforcement and inner reinforcement, either for horizontal or for the vertical. According to our drawings, you will find verticals and horizontal for inner and outer. Whatever we have here, must be entered there. For example, according to this design, we'll find here the vertical is number 2, then horizontal number 3. If we see number 2 and 3 in this schedule, we'll find number 2 in the ground floor is 12 milli each 15 centi. Number 3, which is horizontal, is 10 milli each 20 centi. That means this is 5 pieces per meter and this is almost 7 pieces per meter. So according to these numbers of floors, we'll consider the repetition. And if we are talking about the ground, that means you have only one wall. If we are talking from first and second and third, we will consider this as a 3. So first we need to enter the vertical reinforcement, which is 7 by 12, like this. In the inner and the outer, according to the drawing, it is inner and outer 12 milli each 15 centi, 7 by 12. And for horizontal, it is 10 milli each 20 centi. So it is 5 inner and outer. Okay, and as we said, this is only for the ground floor, so we can mention here this is a G W1. So we know now it is in the ground floor and it is only one piece. What about number 1, which is 520? We can see here number 1 here and there, which is in the corners. We can consider this is all, it's mentioned here as number 1, and it have a 20 milli rebar. We can consider this also as a core wall. We will take this dimension, the length of this, we can take it all together. If this is almost 30 centi plus another 20 centi, and this is 40 centi, and this 20, so we have 1 meter 20. We can consider now 1 meter 20 still in the ground floor, and we can say this is corner, also one piece, the same height and same thickness. Now we add here 1 meter 10, that means it must be cut from the wall itself, so this will be 10.9 only. Okay, and we'll put here the new, only the new rebars. The horizontal rebar not changed, it will be also 5 vertical rebar, which is changed to 20 milli in the inner and the outer, as it's mentioned here. But what about the number? It can be calculated. Here we have 3 inner, 3 outer. Here is 2 inner, 2 outer, that means 5, 5. And here is 2, 2, that means 7, 7. And here is 4, 4. Now we have 11, 11. 11 in what? 11 in 1 meter 10. That means 1 meter 10 we have 11 rebar. That means we have 10 rebar per meter. So we can enter here 10 and 10. Let's go for walls in floors 1 and 2 and 3. So we can also make a reference here, 1, 2, 3, also W1. So it's how many floors? 3 floors, that means 3 times of repetition. Let's take the dimension, which shall be the same, or maybe it can be changed also, no problem. If the thickness will be the same, so keep it the same, otherwise if it changed according to the drawing, just check it and put the correct dimension. Okay, what about this reinforcement? You will find here all the same, but what it changed? Only number 1, 16 milli instead of 20. So the main vertical and horizontal rebar is the same, 5, 10 milli, and it can be 6.7, 12 milli for inner and outer rebar in vertical reinforcement. But in the floors 1 and 2 and 3, W1 corner, it is different. You can see same size, but the vertical reinforcement is different. It's 16 milli, and so on, and the same for other floors, which is 4, 5, 6. So we'll make 1 time and multiply by 3. Then from 7 to 15 we'll write 1 time and multiply by 8, and we will do the required change and modifications. And the same we will do for the other wall type, which is W2. After completing of this, we will have the output for the walls. We will have the total reinforcement concrete quantity, the shutter area, and the details of rebar quantity. The same it will be for the parapet and manaras and dome and tanks. We'll speak about it in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.